Alex had been alone on the edge of known space for 3 months. The station he worked on hovered near a tiny, unstable star, a quiet outpost meant for observation and communication. Most of the time, it was just him, the hum of machinery and the occasional ping from distant probes. He liked it that way. Peaceful, predictable, simple. At least that's what he thought. He was checking the external arrays that morning, tightening a loose panel and calibrating sensors, when a shimmer caught his eye. At first, he thought it was a reflection from the star, dancing across the station's metal surface. But then he saw the outline of a figure standing just beyond the doorway. He blinked, rubbed his eyes, and the figure was still there. Alex froze. This was impossible. No alien had ever visited a human outpost like this, not here, not anywhere. His mind raced through every safety protocol, every warning he had memorized. He reached for his communicator. Nothing. The figure remained just outside the doorway, completely unbothered by his presence. Then it smiled. And that smile, it was confident, almost playful, and it made Alex step back without thinking. Hello? He said, his voice cracking more than he wanted. The figure leaned casually against the frame of the doorway, not even bothering to wear the bulky protective suit Alex knew any visitor should be using. It looked naked, but in a strange alien way that didn't feel threatening, just startling. The figure tilted its head and grinned. Well? Say something. Alex's brain short-circuited. He had faced cosmic storms, malfunctioning reactors, and rogue drones, but this was new. He swallowed hard, forcing words out. Welcome to the station? The figure laughed, a sound like chimes in the wind. Bold start. I like it. It straightened, crossing arms with a casual elegance, and glanced around the station with curiosity. Alex noticed immediately how alien the body structure was. Elongated limbs, skin that shimmered faintly, and eyes far larger than any human's, reflecting the light of the star in an eerie, captivating way. What are you? Alex finally managed, stepping closer cautiously. I'm Ziriel, she said, her voice melodic but firm. Scout explorer, problem solver in a manner of speaking. And you are? Alex? Alex Mason, I work here. I maintain this station. I'm in charge. He straightened his jacket, feeling ridiculously human in comparison to her effortless poise. Ziriel's grin widened. In charge, huh? Cute, let me guess, you're the only human here? Yes, he said, and then realized it sounded defensive. He cleared his throat. Well, yes, I'm the only human. And technically, yes, in charge. But not of you. You seem capable. Ziriel's laughter rang again, echoing slightly in the empty hallway. I like that. You're not afraid. Most humans would be hiding or panicking. You are amusing. Alex didn't know whether to be proud or worried. Amusing? He repeated. You don't even know what's coming, she said, stepping fully into the doorway now. Her presence filled the small hallway like gravity itself had shifted. Alex could feel it, though it wasn't oppressive. It was commanding in a way humans didn't often encounter. But that's fine. You'll learn. He rubbed his forehead. Learn what exactly? Ziriel's grin turned mischievous. How humans handle surprises, and how I handle humans. Alex opened his mouth, closed it again. Right. Ziriel moved closer, her steps light and almost floating. She leaned casually against the wall, relaxed, confident, unbothered by the life support systems, alarms, or the potential danger of a human encountering a fully foreign being. Alex could feel a mix of awe and anxiety building in his chest. Here was an alien, one of the first to ever make contact with a human outpost, and she was treating him like a curious child trying to solve a puzzle. So, you're alone here? No one else to bother you? She asked. Yes, Alex said cautiously. Just me, and I prefer it that way. Ziriel tilted her head, her large eyes studying him intently. Interesting. You humans are more complex than I expected. Alone, yet capable. Afraid, yet curious. I like that mix, Alex blinked. Thanks? He realized he had no idea how to respond. He was trained for emergencies, technical problems, even diplomacy and theory. But this? Nothing in his manuals prepared him for an alien standing naked at his doorway, grinning like she had just won a small victory in a private joke. Ziriel chuckled softly. You're cute when you panic. I'm not panicking, Alex said quickly, though his racing heart betrayed him. I'm assessing the situation. Sure, she said, rolling her eyes playfully. Assessment. That explains the flustered tone. Alex ran a hand through his hair, trying to calm himself. Okay, fine. You're different, and I don't know why you're here. But if you're hostile, I have protocols. Zyriel's expression softened almost imperceptibly. Protocols are boring. I'm not hostile. At least not unless provoked. I'm here because I want to see humans up close. And maybe help, possibly. We'll see. Alex frowned. Help? Yes, help, she repeated. The galaxy is complicated, dangerous, rogue fleets, pirates, unknown threats. Humans are capable, but isolated. I want to see how you think, how you adapt, how clever you really are. Alex raised an eyebrow. You mean a test? Call it what you like, Zyriel said with a grin. Consider it. An exchange. I observe. You survive. You might even impress me. Alex's mind spun. Impress you? How exactly would I? I don't even. By doing what humans do best, she interrupted. Adapt, solve, survive, think. Use your mind. Your cunning. Your stubbornness. That's why I'm here. That's why I chose you? Alex blinked, stunned. Chose me? Zyriel shrugged lightly. You're here alone and you didn't scream or hide when I appeared. That counts for something. Humans tend to panic, not you. I like that, he swallowed hard. I guess I appreciate that. But I still don't understand why appear like this? Zyriel laughed again. Because you humans are too polite sometimes. I wanted to see if you'd react honestly. Fear, surprise, curiosity, all of it. And you? Alex took a deep breath. Honestly, I don't know. I've never met an alien up close. And, I didn't expect this. Exactly, she said, leaning further against the wall. Unexpected? That's the point. You learn when you're uncomfortable. When things aren't safe or normal. That's how species survive. That's how you survive. That's how humans excel. Alex couldn't help but admire her insight. So you're testing me? Learning about humans? And maybe learning about you? Zyriel added softly, almost teasingly. Curious minds are fascinating. Resourceful minds even more so. I like resourcefulness. That's why I'm here. Alex felt a mix of pride and nervousness. Resourcefulness, huh? I hope I can live up to that. You will, she said with a nod, or you'll at least give me a good story to take back to my people. At that moment, the lights flickered. A minor solar flare from the nearby star caused a ripple in the station's power grid. Alarms beeped softly. Zyriel's eyes sparkled and she tilted her head. See? Life keeps throwing surprises at you. You're ready? Alex steadied himself. I guess I am. I have to be. It's my job. Good, she said, stepping fully into the hallway now, because nothing worth seeing comes without a challenge. And humans, you have a way of facing challenges that's entertaining. For a moment, Alex forgot everything else, the isolation, the danger, the unknown. Here was an alien from a distant system, bold, confident, and somehow playful. She challenged him, teased him, and yet offered a glimpse of something bigger, something beyond his small, controlled life on the station. Okay, he said finally. I guess we start with introductions and maybe I can show you around. Zyriel's grin widened, almost predatory in its amusement. Finally. A human speaking. I like this one already. Alex exhaled slowly, realizing that his life on the station would never be the same again. The quiet, predictable months of solitude were over, and somehow that fact made him feel more alive than he had in years. Zyriel looked around the station with a critical eye, noting the engineering marvels and human improvisations alike. You humans do interesting work. Clever, messy, alive, Alex smiled despite himself. Thanks, I try. And you succeed, she said, stepping closer to the control panel. Now let's see if you can survive surprises, solve problems, and maybe impress me along the way. Life is short. The galaxy is vast, and you, Alex Mason, are suddenly very interesting to me. Alex swallowed hard again. Interesting, huh? Very, Zyriel said, grinning. Now show me your world. I want to see what humans can do when they really try. And with that, Alex realized the quiet life he thought he wanted was gone. A bold, fearless alien had arrived unannounced, challenging everything he knew about survival, courage, and himself. He had no idea what would happen next, but for the first time in months he felt truly awake. Alex led Zyriel down the narrow corridors of the station, trying his best to remain calm. Her presence was impossible to ignore. Every step she took was deliberate, confident, and somehow entirely alien. Even the air around her seemed charged like static before a storm. "You humans live in such small spaces," Ziriel commented casually, brushing her hand along the walls. "Cramped yet efficient. I like that." "You adapt well." Alex adjusted his jacket, trying not to look like he was being sized up. "We'd make the best of what we have. Resources are limited out here. Space is expensive." "Ah, efficiency," she said with a small hum of approval. "I respect that. I like seeing how species survive with limited resources. It tells me a lot about them." Alex led her into the control room, a cramped space filled with monitors, blinking lights, and the faint smell of ozone from the equipment. He pointed to the main console. "This is where I run most of the station operations. Sensors, communication arrays, environmental controls, everything." Ziriel stepped closer, her large eyes scanning the displays quickly. "Interesting. Humans rely on technology heavily, but I see adaptability too. You could survive even if systems failed. That's impressive." Alex swallowed hard, a flush creeping into his face. "Thanks, I try to be prepared." She tilted her head, studying him closely. "Prepared, yes. But you humans also improvise well under pressure. That is your strength." "I like that," Alex tried not to smirk. "I guess it comes from necessity. Out here, mistakes can kill you." "Exactly," Ziriel said, her voice softening slightly. "And humans, you handle that better than most species I have observed. You don't panic. You assess. You think, you act. That is rare. That is valuable." Alex felt a sense of pride mixed with nervousness. He had always thought of himself as just a competent engineer, not someone remarkable. But this alien, bold and fearless, seemed to see more in him than he saw in himself. "So," Ziriel said suddenly, her tone playful, "how do humans normally greet visitors? Do you panic, faint, or offer tea?" Alex blinked. "Tea? Or some ritual of politeness? Curiosity, hospitality, something. Humans seem fond of rituals." Alex chuckled nervously. "Well, usually we welcome them. Cautiously, with procedures in place, safety checks and protocols." Ziriel's grin widened. "Ah, protocols, fascinating. You followed them. Sort of. But you were also honest. You didn't scream or run. That's very human, very adaptive." Alex shook his head, smiling despite himself. "I didn't think I had a choice. You appeared at my doorway. Like that." She laughed softly. "I told you, surprises are necessary. How else will you grow? How else will humans show what they're capable of?" Alex tried to focus on her words, but his mind kept wandering to how strange and bold she was. Her confidence was almost infectious, making him feel braver than he had in months. "So, what do you want?" he asked cautiously. "From me? From this station?" Ziriel leaned on the console, her gaze scanning the monitors. "I want to understand humans. Not as observers from afar, but up close. I want to see your creativity, your problem-solving, your courage. I want to see what makes you different." Alex frowned. "You mean test me?" "In a sense," she said, shrugging lightly. "But it is more than a test. Consider it an exchange. I learn about you, you learn about the galaxy, and we both grow." Alex exhaled slowly. "I see, and if I fail?" "You won't," Ziriel said firmly. "Humans rarely fail when they refuse to give up. That is your strength. And I like that." For a moment, Alex just stared at her. Her confidence was staggering. She wasn't threatening in a traditional way. She was bold, fearless, and strangely reassuring. He shook his head. "I guess I'm not used to this. First contact with an alien, and you're friendly, playful, bold, dangerous, entertaining." "Exactly," she said, grinning. "And all at once. Life is complicated, Alex. Survival is complicated. You humans handle it with creativity. That is worth observing." Alex smiled faintly, feeling a spark of camaraderie with this alien. "So, what do we do first?" Ziriel's eyes gleamed. "First, we see what humans can do when faced with the unexpected." She tapped a few buttons on the console, and the main screen lit up with a 3D map of nearby space. A cluster of small unidentified objects drifted toward the station. Alex squinted. Rogue drones. "These are from a neighboring system. They must have picked up our signals." Ziriel nodded, her expression serious now. "Exactly. Consider this your first challenge. They're testing you, and me, by extension. Let's see how humans respond." Alex's heart raced. He had trained for emergencies, but this was different. These were intelligent drones, not just malfunctioning satellites. Their movements were deliberate, calculating. He moved quickly to the console, fingers flying over the controls. I can reroute power to the defense grids, engage automated turrets, and try to override their approach patterns. Ziriel watched him, her expression unreadable. Good. That is human ingenuity. Impressive. But remember, improvise, adapt. Don't rely only on systems, Alex nodded. I know, I've faced worse. Well, maybe not worse, but unexpected. Like you, she smiled softly. Exactly. Like me. The drones drew closer. Alex took a deep breath and tapped into the station's emergency protocols. Lights flashed, alarms beeped, and the turrets hummed to life. He could feel the adrenaline pumping through his veins. This was exactly the kind of scenario humans were meant to handle. Ziriel leaned slightly closer, observing him with keen interest. You are focused. Calm under pressure, excellent. Humans, they often underestimate themselves, not you. Not here. Alex gritted his teeth as he monitored the drone's approach. They're adapting. Changing formation. Trying to outmaneuver the turrets. I'll need to think ahead. Good, Ziriel said softly. That is what I wanted to see. Resourcefulness, adaptation, courage. Humans have it in abundance even when they doubt themselves. Alex felt a surge of pride. I hope my skills are enough. They are, Ziriel said firmly. But remember, it is not only your skills. It is your mind, your determination, your will to survive. That is what makes humans remarkable. He smiled faintly, feeling a newfound confidence. I guess I never realized that until now. The drones continued their approach, scanning the station, but Alex's careful calculations and quick improvisation began to turn the tide. He reprogrammed the defense systems on the fly, creating traps and diversions. The drones faltered, their AI struggling to predict human unpredictability. Ziriel clapped her hands lightly. Excellent. That is what I wanted to see. Human ingenuity in action. You adapt. You survive. You think that is impressive. Alex allowed himself a small grin. Thanks, I guess. It's just what we do. Out here, you learn quickly or you don't survive. Ziriel's eyes sparkled with amusement and admiration. And that, Alex Mason, is why humans are fascinating. Not because you are the strongest. Not because you are the fastest. But because you think, adapt, and refuse to give up. That is your power. The last of the rogue drones retreated, disabled by Alex's clever manipulations. He leaned back in his chair, breathing heavily. Ziriel stepped closer, her grin wide and approving. You see, she said softly, you humans are more capable than most species believe. You survive. You adapt. You inspire. That is remarkable. Alex exhaled, feeling both exhausted and exhilarated. I guess I did okay. You did more than okay, Ziriel said, her tone almost gentle. You impressed me. That is not easy to do. Alex felt a warmth in his chest. He had always thought of himself as just another engineer, another human trying to survive in space. But here was an alien, bold and fearless, telling him he was remarkable. Ziriel stepped back, her eyes scanning the monitors once more. Now, let's see what else humans can do. There is more to learn. More challenges. More surprises, and I want to see it all. Alex nodded, feeling a strange mix of excitement and apprehension. The quiet life he had known was over. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and dangerous, and he was ready to face it. With Ziriel by his side, observing, challenging, and teasing, he felt more alive than he had in months. You ready for the next surprise? Ziriel asked, her grin returning. Alex straightened, determination settling in his chest. Always. And with that, the station hummed with life. The stars outside glittered like distant fireflies, and the first real test of human ingenuity and courage had begun. The rogue drones had retreated, but Alex knew that their departure was temporary. He glanced at the starry expanse beyond the station's viewport and felt the quiet tension return. Space was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable. One moment it was calm, the next it could be deadly. And with Ziriel here, bold and fearless, he felt the stakes had suddenly risen. So, Ziriel said, stretching her arms casually. That was impressive. Human improvisation at its finest. But there is more to learn. Challenges rarely arrive alone. Alex leaned back, rubbing his temples. I hope the next challenge isn't another swarm of drones. Ziriel tilted her head, her large eyes gleaming. It might not be drones. It might be the environment. The universe itself. Do you adapt well under pressure, Alex Mason? I've done my best, Alex said cautiously. I like to think so, but I've never faced an alien who just appeared in my doorway. Ziriel laughed softly. I am not your enemy. Not yet. Consider me a partner. For now, observe, learn, grow, and test your limits. Alex nodded slowly. He had a strange feeling that she was right. Survival in space was not just about skill. It was about mind, adaptability, and courage. And with Ziriel here, he had someone who challenged him to be better. Suddenly, the station shuddered. Warning lights flashed red and alarms blared. Alex jumped to the console, his heart racing. What now? He muttered. Ziriel's eyes flicked to the sensors. A cosmic storm. Unstable energy fields approaching. You humans might call it a solar tempest. Dangerous, unpredictable, thrilling. Alex gritted his teeth. Thrilling? Try life-threatening. We need to secure the station and minimize damage. Exactly, Ziriel said, her tone playful but firm. This is your test now. Can you adapt? Can you survive? Can you thrive when the universe itself is challenging you? Alex began rerouting power to reinforce the station's shields. The console beeped urgently, showing unstable readings. Panels flickered, warning lights blinked. He worked quickly, inputting calculations and rerouting energy flows, his fingers moving faster than he thought possible. Ziriel hovered beside him, observing every action. Resourcefulness. Quick thinking. Calm under pressure, humans. You are remarkable, she said softly. Alex didn't have time to respond. The storm's energy field hit the station with a violent pulse. Lights flickered and a section of the outer hull shuddered. He gritted his teeth, adjusting the shields, rerouting power, and stabilizing the environmental systems. Ziriel moved with him, her presence calm and confident, almost as if she were guiding him through the storm. You're doing well, she said. But remember, adapt, improvise. The storm will not follow predictable patterns. You cannot rely solely on calculations. Alex nodded, scanning the energy patterns on the console. I see it. I'll adjust. I'll think outside the systems. The station trembled again, stronger this time. A section of the outer hull groaned under pressure. Alex's heart pounded. We're going to need to vent excess energy manually, he muttered. I'll have to go outside. Ziriel raised an eyebrow. Outside? In the storm? It's the only way to stabilize the shields. Otherwise, the station could be damaged irreparably. She smiled faintly. Humans always willing to risk themselves. That is admirable, and slightly foolish. But I like it. Alex suited up quickly, checking his equipment, securing tools, and preparing for the hazardous task. Ziriel watched him silently, her presence strangely comforting. He could feel her observing, studying, assessing. But there was no judgment in her gaze, only a quiet acknowledgement of human courage and determination. He stepped out into the storm. The energy pulses from the cosmic tempest struck the station, making it tremble violently. Sparks flew from exposed panels, and his suit system struggled to compensate. Alex moved carefully, manually venting excess energy and reinforcing shield connections. It was dangerous, but he focused on the task, relying on his training and instincts. Ziriel followed, moving with an ease that defied physics. She hovered alongside him, her presence almost like a protective force. You're doing well, she said calmly. Human, your perseverance is inspiring. Most species would have panicked. You adapt. You survive. That is rare. Alex felt a surge of determination. I have to. We have to keep this station safe. I won't fail. The storm grew stronger, shaking the station violently. Alex adjusted the energy vents, rerouted power once again, and managed to stabilize the shields. The outer hull groaned, but the system held. He exhaled deeply, relief flooding him. Ziriel floated closer, her large eyes studying him. Remarkable, she said softly. You humans are not just clever. You are brave, resilient, adaptable. That is impressive, Alex smiled faintly. Thanks. But I couldn't have done it without... He glanced at her. Your guidance. Your presence. She tilted her head, her grin returning. I guided? Perhaps. But you acted. You thought. You adapted. That is what matters. That is why humans excel. Alex nodded slowly, realizing she was right. Survival in space was not just about technology or tools. It was about the mind. the courage to act and the willingness to face the unknown, and humans had that in abundance. As the storm began to pass, Alex and Ziriel returned to the station, both soaked in sweat and energy from the adrenaline of the challenge. He collapsed into a chair, exhausted but exhilarated. "You did well," Ziriel said softly, her eyes reflecting the flickering lights of the consoles. "Better than I expected. Humans." "You are impressive," Alex chuckled faintly. "Better than you expected?" "That sounds like a compliment." "I think." "It is," she said firmly. "Humans underestimate themselves. You doubt your abilities. But when faced with the impossible, you excel. That is what makes you remarkable." Alex leaned back, feeling a mix of pride and exhaustion. For months he had been alone, isolated in a quiet, predictable station. But now with Ziriel here, observing, challenging, and guiding him, he felt a new sense of purpose. Do you always test people like this?" he asked, still catching his breath. Ziriel's grin returned. "Not always. But humans, you are fascinating. Bold, clever, resilient, you deserve it." Alex shook his head, smiling faintly. "I guess I'll have to get used to this. Challenges, tests, and your presence." She tilted her head, eyes gleaming. "You will. And you will grow stronger because of it. That is the point. The universe is vast, unpredictable, and dangerous. Those who adapt survive. Those who learn thrive." Alex nodded slowly, feeling a deep sense of understanding. He had always thought of himself as just an engineer, just a human trying to survive. But now he saw that survival was more than just skill or preparation. It was courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to face the unknown with determination. "And, you think I did well today?" he asked quietly. Ziriel floated closer, her expression softening. "You did more than well. You impressed me. That is not easy to do." Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had faced cosmic storms, rogue drones, and isolation, yet the presence of this alien, bold and fearless, had made him stronger, braver, and more aware of his own abilities. "Thank you," he said softly, "for guiding me, for trusting me." Ziriel's grin returned, playful and approving. "Trust, perhaps, but remember, you earned it, humans. You prove yourselves every day, and that is why you are remarkable." Alex smiled faintly, feeling a newfound sense of confidence. "I guess I'll have to keep proving myself then." "Indeed," she said, her tone light but firm. "The galaxy is full of challenges, Alex Mason, and I want to see how you face them all. That is why I'm here." He leaned back in his chair, looking out at the stars beyond the station. The vast expanse of space stretched endlessly, filled with danger, mystery, and opportunity. For the first time in months, he felt truly alive. "And what happens next?" he asked, glancing at Ziriel. She tilted her head, her large eyes gleaming. "Next, we explore. We face new challenges. We learn, and you will continue to prove what humans are capable of. That is the adventure." Alex nodded slowly, determination settling in his chest. He had faced danger, isolation, and the unknown. But with Ziriel by his side, observing, challenging, and guiding him, he felt ready for anything. "Then, let's begin," he said, his voice steady. Ziriel's grin widened. "Finally, the real adventure begins, and I cannot wait to see how you humans handle it." The station was quiet now, the storm past, and the rogue drones long gone. Alex sat at the main console, exhausted but alert. Ziriel floated nearby, her large eyes scanning the station's readouts, still as calm and confident as ever. "Are you ready for the next step?" she asked, tilting her head. Alex rubbed his temples. "I'm as ready as I can be. But what exactly is the next step?" Ziriel's grin returned. "We travel. To my home system. There are threats approaching, and my people must be warned. You will come with me." Alex blinked. "Me? Travel to an alien system? That's insane." "Exactly," she said, her tone playful. "Insane is the perfect way to learn. Humans thrive when faced with the impossible. You adapt. You survive. You impress, and I want to see that." Alex swallowed hard. "I guess I don't really have a choice." "Correct," Ziriel said simply. "You will come, and you will show me what humans are capable of." He exhaled slowly and began preparing for the journey. The station had a small shuttle bay with a vessel designed for solo trips or short-range missions. It wasn't built for interstellar travel, but Ziriel's technology could enhance it. Alex worked quickly, checking systems, calibrating thrusters, and ensuring life support was fully operational. Ziriel observed silently, occasionally offering a comment or suggestion. "Your systems are clever," she said. "Human engineering is remarkable. Messy, yes. Inefficient at times. But adaptable. That is why humans survive." Alex smiled faintly. "Thanks, I try." "You do more than try," she said. "You think. You adapt. You solve problems. That is rare. That is why humans are fascinating." The shuttle hummed as they prepared for launch. Alex secured himself in the pilot seat, strapping into the harness. Ziriel hovered beside him, her large eyes focused on the stars beyond. "Ready?" she asked. Alex nodded. "Ready?" The shuttle lifted off, engines glowing softly. Alex guided it out of the station, past the energy shields, and into open space. The stars stretched endlessly around them, vast, beautiful, and dangerous. Ziriel tilted her head, studying him. "Humans handle space well. You are cautious but not afraid. That is admirable." Alex smiled faintly. "I've learned to respect it. One wrong move out here and you're done." "Exactly," Ziriel said. "Respect, adaptation, courage, that is the essence of survival. And humans, you excel at it." The journey was long, and Alex focused on navigation, energy management, and maintaining the shuttle's systems. Ziriel observed quietly, occasionally pointing out potential hazards or offering suggestions for efficiency. Her presence was both calming and challenging, forcing him to think faster and act smarter. Hours passed. The stars shifted as they traveled deeper into uncharted space. Alex glanced at the navigation readouts and noticed an anomaly, a field of dense asteroids moving unpredictably. "Ziriel," he said, pointing at the sensors. "We have an asteroid field ahead. It's unstable and shifting. We'll need to navigate carefully." She floated closer, studying the display. "Yes, a perfect test of human ingenuity and adaptability. You will need to think quickly, improvise, survive. Can you do it?" Alex exhaled slowly. "I'll do my best." The shuttle approached the asteroid field. Rocks of varying sizes floated in chaotic patterns, some glowing faintly with residual cosmic energy. Alex adjusted the thrusters, calculating trajectories and plotting a path through the shifting hazards. Ziriel watched silently. "Your calculations are impressive," she said. "But remember, the field is unpredictable. You cannot rely solely on numbers. Adapt, react, improvise." Alex nodded. He took a deep breath and guided the shuttle through the field, dodging massive rocks, spinning debris, and glowing energy pockets. Every movement was precise, every adjustment critical. One mistake and the shuttle could be destroyed. Ziriel leaned slightly closer. "Good, but faster thinking. Anticipate changes. Humans survive when they predict the unpredictable." Alex gritted his teeth, adjusting the thrusters as an enormous asteroid shifted suddenly into their path. He fired the auxiliary boosters, narrowly avoiding a collision. Sparks flew from the hull, but the shuttle held. "Excellent," Ziriel said, her voice calm but approving. "You adapt. You survive. That is remarkable." Alex exhaled, his heart racing. "Thanks. I just focus. I can't afford mistakes. And that is why humans excel," Ziriel said softly. "Focus, determination, courage, adaptation, that is your strength." The shuttle continued through the asteroid field, Alex adjusting and improvising constantly. Ziriel remained beside him, observing, offering subtle guidance but never taking control. It was clear she wanted him to rely on his own skills. Hours later, the asteroid field ended. Alex let out a long breath, his muscles tense from the constant adjustments. "We made it," he said, relief flooding him. Ziriel smiled faintly. "You did more than survive. You adapted. You improvised. You excelled. Humans, you are impressive." Alex chuckled faintly. "Impressive, huh? I'm just lucky." "No," Ziriel said firmly. "Not luck. Skill, ingenuity, courage. That is what humans possess. That is why you survive. That is why you thrive." Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. For months he had been alone, isolated in a quiet station. But now, facing cosmic storms, rogue drones, and unpredictable asteroid fields, he realized something. Humans were capable of more than he had ever imagined. And he was living proof. The shuttle continued its journey deeper into uncharted space. Alex monitored the systems, plotted courses, and maintained vigilance. Ziriel observed quietly, occasionally offering a comment or noting a potential hazard. Her presence was both challenging and comforting, forcing him to think faster, act smarter, and remain alert. Hours later, the first planet of Zyriel's home system came into view. Its surface was covered with jagged mountains and deep valleys, and the atmosphere glowed faintly with alien colors. Alex guided the shuttle closer, preparing for landing. "Prepare for atmospheric entry," Zyriel said. "It will be turbulent. The planet's gravity is strong, and the winds are unpredictable." Alex adjusted the shields, calculated descent angles, and engaged the thrusters. The shuttle shuddered as it entered the atmosphere, buffeted by strong winds and turbulent air currents. He gritted his teeth, focusing on every control and sensor, carefully maneuvering the vessel toward a suitable landing zone. Zyriel watched silently, her eyes scanning the displays. "Excellent adjustments," she said softly. "You adapt. You improvise. You survive. That is rare. That is why humans are remarkable." Alex exhaled as the shuttle touched down on solid ground, skidding slightly before coming to a stop. Sparks flew from the landing pads, but the shuttle remained intact. He leaned back in his seat, breathing heavily, relief flooding him. "We made it," he said, looking at Zyriel. She floated closer, her large eyes glimmering. "Yes, and you did more than survive. You adapted. You improvised. You excelled. Humans, you are impressive." Alex smiled faintly. "Thanks, but I couldn't have done it without your guidance." Zyriel shook her head lightly. "Guidance, perhaps, but you acted. You thought. You adapted. That is what matters. That is why humans thrive." Alex looked out at the alien landscape, jagged mountains stretching toward the sky, valleys glowing faintly with strange energy. He realized that the universe was vast, unpredictable, and full of danger, and yet he felt ready. With courage, ingenuity, and determination, humans could survive anything, and what now? He asked, glancing at Zyriel. "Now," she said, her grin returning, playful and approving. "We explore. We face challenges. We learn, and you will continue to show me what humans are capable of. That is, the adventure." Alex nodded slowly, determination settling in his chest. "Then let's see what comes next." Zyriel's eyes gleamed. "Finally, the real adventure begins, and I cannot wait to see how humans handle it." As they stepped out of the shuttle, Alex felt a sense of exhilaration. The planet stretched before them, alien and beautiful, full of danger and mystery, with Zyriel by his side, observing, challenging, and guiding him. He felt ready for anything. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and full of surprises, and he was determined to prove that humanity could face it all. The alien landscape stretched endlessly before Alex. Jagged mountains reached skyward, and valleys shimmered with faint, otherworldly light. The air carried a subtle hum of energy, vibrating through the ground. Alex stepped carefully, scanning the terrain with a mixture of caution and awe. Zyriel floated beside him, her presence calm and confident, as if she belonged to this world entirely. "This is incredible," Alex said softly. "I've never seen anything like it." Zyriel's large eyes glimmered. "It is my home system. Beautiful, dangerous, alive. You humans are lucky to witness it firsthand. But beware, beauty often hides danger." Alex nodded. He had learned quickly that Zyriel's warnings were always to be taken seriously. Rogue drones, cosmic storms, asteroid fields, he had survived them all. Yet the sense of anticipation in this alien world was different. It wasn't just survival he was facing. It was the unknown, and he felt both exhilarated and wary. "Are we going to meet your people?" he asked. Zyriel tilted her head, her expression unreadable. "Yes, but first you must prove your worth. Not through strength, not through luck, but through skill, courage, and ingenuity. Humans are remarkable. I want to see that demonstrated fully." Alex took a deep breath. He had faced challenges before, but the weight of this moment pressed on him. His determination hardened. He was not just an engineer, not just a human alone in space. He was someone capable of facing the impossible, and he intended to prove it. They moved through the jagged terrain, carefully navigating sharp ridges and glowing valleys. The energy in the air grew stronger, vibrating against Alex's skin. Sensors on his suit beeped irregularly, signaling fluctuating radiation levels. "Radiation spikes," Alex muttered. "The air is unstable. We'll need to move carefully." Zyriel nodded approvingly. "Exactly. Humans survive by thinking, adapting, and acting. That is what I want to see. Do you understand? I do, Alex said, focusing on the path ahead. I'll stay alert and adapt as needed. Hours passed as they navigated the alien terrain. Strange flora glowed faintly in the valleys, and distant mountains seemed to shift subtly in the alien light. Alex noticed unusual energy patterns, cracks in the ground that hummed with volatile energy. One misstep could be catastrophic. This field is unstable, Alex said, pointing to the glowing fissures in the ground. We'll need to jump carefully from ridge to ridge. One wrong move and— Yes, Ziriel said softly. One wrong move could be fatal. Humans survive through focus, courage, and ingenuity. Show me that. Alex adjusted his approach, analyzing the terrain and calculating jumps. He tested small footholds, sensing the energy vibrations and predicting which rocks and ridges could hold their weight. Ziriel followed silently, her presence calm and encouraging. Step by step, they crossed the unstable terrain. Sparks of energy shot from the cracks, but Alex remained focused. He used his knowledge of physics and engineering instincts to anticipate shifts in the ground and adjust their path. You think quickly, Ziriel said, her tone approving. You analyze. You adapt. Humans excel when faced with danger, that is remarkable. Alex gritted his teeth as a massive fissure opened suddenly beneath their path. He calculated quickly, grabbed a nearby energy-stable rock and used it as a stepping point, pulling Ziriel with him. They landed safely on the next ridge, the fissure crackling violently below. That was impressive, Ziriel said softly, her large eyes gleaming. You act decisively, think creatively, and survive. Humans, you are extraordinary. Alex exhaled, muscles tense from the adrenaline. I just focused on the next move. I can't afford mistakes. Exactly, Ziriel said. That is why humans thrive. You don't rely on chance. You calculate. You improvise. You endure. That is strength. They continued, the terrain growing more treacherous. Strange energy storms flickered across the sky, sending arcs of lightning across distant mountains. Alex adjusted his suit systems to compensate, rerouting power to shields and stabilizers. Ziriel observed silently, her expression unreadable, yet her presence reassuring. Suddenly, a massive energy surge erupted from the ground ahead, a wall of shimmering light that crackled with dangerous intensity. Alex froze, calculating options. We can't go around, he muttered. We'll need to pass through it carefully. Shields up, step lightly, and anticipate fluctuations. Ziriel's eyes gleamed. Exactly. That is what I want to see. Humans thrive in danger. You will succeed because you adapt, analyze, and act. Alex took a deep breath, adjusted his shields, and moved forward. Sparks and energy arcs danced across the ground, but he stayed focused. Step by step, he navigated the surge, anticipating each pulse and adjusting his path. Ziriel followed closely, her presence almost protective, guiding him subtly without interference. Finally, they reached the far side of the energy wall, both panting slightly from the exertion. Alex glanced back at the wall of energy, relief washing over him. Humans survive, Ziriel said softly, but you do more than survive. You adapt. You innovate. You excel. That is why you are remarkable. Alex smiled faintly, feeling a deep sense of pride. He had faced cosmic storms, rogue drones, asteroid fields, unstable terrain, and now alien energy surges, and he had succeeded. He realized that his training, instincts, and determination had all led to this moment. Thank you, he said quietly, glancing at Zariella, for trusting me, for letting me prove myself. She tilted her head, her large eyes gleaming. You earned it. Humans survive when others fail. You thrive when others doubt. That is your strength. That is why I brought you here. Ahead, a massive structure rose from the mountains, glowing faintly with alien light. It was Ziriel's home citadel, a place of both beauty and power. As they approached, Ziriel spoke softly. This is where my people reside. They are cautious, wary of outsiders. You will need to demonstrate your abilities and courage to gain their trust. Alex nodded, determination settling in his chest. He had faced every challenge the galaxy had thrown at him and survived. He could face this too. As they entered the citadel, Ziriel's people observed them cautiously. Their eyes were large and sharp, their expressions unreadable. Ziriel spoke, introducing Alex as a human capable of remarkable ingenuity and courage. Alex stepped forward, demonstrating his knowledge of engineering, problem-solving, and survival skills. He explained how he had navigated cosmic storms, rogue drones, asteroid fields, and unstable alien terrain. The aliens watched closely, impressed by his ability to think quickly, adapt, and survive under extreme conditions. "You are extraordinary," one elder said, her voice calm but commanding. "Humans are capable of much more than we expected. You survived the impossible, adapted to the unknown, and proved your courage. That is rare." Alex bowed slightly, feeling a sense of pride. "I only did what was necessary. I could not fail. The galaxy is vast, unpredictable, and dangerous. Humans survive by thinking, adapting, and acting. That is what I did." Ziriel's eyes glimmered. "Exactly. That is why humans are remarkable. They thrive where others fail, adapt where others panic, and inspire where others doubt." "Alex Mason, you have proven that." The aliens nodded, accepting him fully. Alex felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He had not only survived impossible challenges but had earned the respect of an alien species. Ziriel floated closer, her grin returning. "You have done more than I expected. Humans survive. Humans excel. Humans inspire. That is why you are extraordinary." Alex smiled faintly. I couldn't have done it without your guidance. Your presence." "You guided yourself," Ziriel said softly. "I only observed. Humans thrive through courage, ingenuity, and determination. You have shown that fully. That is why you are remarkable." As the alien sun set over the citadel, casting long shadows across the glowing terrain, Alex realized something profound. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, problem solvers, and courageous beings capable of facing the unknown. And he had proven that, not just to the aliens but to himself. Ziriel floated beside him, her large eyes reflecting the fading light. "The galaxy is vast, Alex Mason. Challenges will continue. Threats will appear, but you have shown what humans are capable of. That is inspiring." Alex nodded slowly, determination settling in his chest. "Then I'll keep proving it. Wherever the galaxy takes me, I'll face it. I'll survive. I'll thrive. And I'll show what humans are capable of." Ziriel's grin returned, wide and approving. "Exactly, and I cannot wait to see what comes next. The adventure is far from over, but you are ready for it." Alex looked out at the alien landscape one last time, the glowing valleys, jagged mountains, and distant stars stretching endlessly. He felt alive, empowered, and certain of one thing. Humans could face anything, adapt to anything, and survive against all odds. And in that moment, he knew the galaxy was not just dangerous. It was full of opportunity, challenge, and wonder, and he would face it all boldly, bravely, and brilliantly as only a human could.